Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry:
Amir,
Salman,
And Shara.
Hi, you're listening to Khandan, a Bollywood podcast regular feed. Thank you so much for your support over the years. We now have a Patreon channel with bonus content and exclusive merch for those of you who would like to support us. Every dollar goes towards creating more and better content. Visit us at patreon.com/Khandan podcast.
Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Khandan Podcast. My name is Asim Bernie, and I'm joined with my lovely co-host Sujoy. Hey, Sujoy.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy 2025. Amrita is not here. She's in, I think she's at a wedding, at a friend's wedding. So she'll be joining us at a future episode soon. But as a replacement, we have our lovely Yamini. Hey, Yamini.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And Papu Charu on Twitter. Are you still on Twitter?
I am. I'm Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky also as Papucharo. Yeah.
Sujoy, are you on Twitter? I was trying to tag you on something and I couldn't find you. I don't know if you hid from me.
No. I'm still there on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we were having that discussion about the Ye Jawani Hai Diwani release, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you rewatched it in theater now, or you went?
No. I watched it at home because I
was wondering, did you actually go buy a ticket and go watch that movie?
No, I was skeptical. I thought it'd be fun to watch Balam Pichkari on the big screen again, and it was playing on my favorite screen, which is screen 16 at Cineworld O2, because I'm a loser like that. I have favorite screens at the cinemas. But I thought it would be a fun idea to watch Balam Pichkari there, but I couldn't risk going back. I don't have much fond memories of that movie, and I wanted to revalidate that. So it's already streaming on Amazon Prime for so many years now. So I rewatched it at my home, and I couldn't stand that movie. I checked out after 30-40 minutes of that movie, man. It's got fabulous songs that have that soundtrack is just killer. Preetham's probably finest work, but what a boring ass movie. And really unlikable characters. Everything is I don't know, it feels like a very adolescent juvenile way of depicting, the worldview is so juvenile in that movie. It my 40-year-old self is cringing internally so much. I folded into myself watching that 40 minutes or so.
Where do you stand on Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, Yamini? Are you booking tickets for the re-release?
I didn't realize that the re-release was happening here also. But probably not. I think the thing is, it's not a film that I know a lot of people hold it up to high regard with nostalgia and everything. For me, it's it's there. It's a perfectly fine background movie. If I'm sitting and working and I just need something to play in the background so I don't distract myself or something, it's fine. Again, music great. I would not say Preetham's finest work, but it's a great soundtrack. It's songs that I listen to very often. But yeah, it's really not.
For some people, it seems to be up there with DDLJ, Kal Ho Na Ho, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi. That's where the standard. If I look at it on Twitter, right, the way people talk about this movie, it feels it's up there.
For a specific generation of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I can see that happening because again, this film came out
2013.
2013. So it was when I was in 12th standard. But again, I guess
the perfect age for you though.
It ideally would have been the perfect age for me to have imprinted onto this movie and been made it my personality through university. But the thing is, I didn't watch it when it came out in the theaters because my mother was board exams, they're not going anywhere. So I just didn't know. I watched it about a year and a half later or something in university when we were in the girls' hostel all sitting and figuring out something to watch together. So I was yeah, it's fine. It's not it's not a film that I turned to. Like, I think another film that came around the same time that I enjoyed even more was like Hasi To Fasi. So it's like, I think it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. I don't think of it as being particularly up there, nor do I think of it as being like a terrible film. Like, I think Ayan is a wonderfully competent director. But yeah, that's about it. I don't really have any strong opinions about this film.
Yeah, I actually just rewatched it with my daughter and my wife not too long ago on Prime, actually, and the movie still works. It still hits, but I also get what Sujoy is saying. There's like things that I think is just an age thing. I think we kind of missed the window, and like yeah, it is. Bunny is not a likable character, but the discussion you and me, Sujoy, were having is like a lot of times it's about red flag Bunny and this and that, how he treats Deepika. But the discussion was how does he treat Madhuri?
Oh my God, yeah, that whole Ghagra song, the beginning of it is so disrespectful.
Yeah, like to any woman, but then it's Madhuri, right? Like the queen of cinema, and the way it's written, approached. I was like, how that part I just cannot justify. All the rest, the bunny and wanting to travel and all of that, I can kind of justify in the sense of Bunny was a young guy and he was growing up, blah, 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 but he's fully formed when he meets Madhuri. He's a professional, right? I don't understand it. You have any saying?
No, I remember. So one thing I really do remember about that is because I around this time, like it was still like Ranbir was a couple of years into his career, and I remember he used to go around all these shows, being like Madhuri Dixit was like my crush. She was the person I always wanted to act with growing up. This. And I also remember back then being very uncomfortable at the scene. That's why whenever I watch the film, I always start with like when they're at the train station going for the trip. I don't really care about anything before that. So I think you just brought that back, and I was like, oh yeah, he is.
That's where it hits now. That's like, oh my God, this movie. Yeah. Maybe your way of watching it is better. But yeah, I kind of put that on Twitter, and I wanted to tag you because we were having that discussion. I couldn't find you. But I think I've been shadow banned on Twitter. I've been doing way too many Free Palestine tweets, and I think it's not hitting anywhere. It's fine. I don't care, but Free Palestine still. That's more important part.
Yeah.
Let's get into the show. It's the first show of the year. We're still kind of slowly getting into it. I don't know about you guys, but Sujoy, I don't know if people ask you a lot, like, what are you doing next on the show? And my answer is usually I don't know, because like nothing interesting is coming out. So we will be doing our 80s Dhamaka series. That's what's going to be happening, because Bollywood is going to be dead in the next few months anyway. But a few trailers dropped and a few news is dropped. So let's get into that before we get into our main review, which is going to be Baby John, a movie that came out for Christmas and nobody gives a shit about anymore. But since there's nothing else to watch, that's the one we watch together. So that's going to be the main review. But let's get into this. A few of the trailers that came out literally today. They came out now. So there were three of them. There was Deva, SkyForce, and Badass Ravi Kumar. I know what you want to talk about first, Sujoy, but let's talk about Deva first. It's a teaser. It's a small thing. What do you think of Deva, Sujoy?
I quite enjoyed that teaser. It's so brilliantly like edited. The pacing of it, without revealing much, it's going to be violent as like. I feel like Bollywood is really leaning into the whole animal side of toxic, violent, masculine force. Whatever we want all our heroes to be molded into that mold in a way. It seems like it, and all the producers are hoping to make money out of that particular trend at the moment. Like one point in time, we were all making small town movies, and right now it's all about slashing all small town people in a way. And Deva seems to be similar. I don't know what Shahid would bring new to that genre. I miss like chocolatey boy Shahid era. So I hate the post Kabir Singh Shahid that he's become now. I also enjoyed Haider Shahid, and I guess or Kamine Shahid even. So The teaser looks fine to me. The teaser is really well done. It doesn't reveal much about the movie. I am cautiously optimistic about it.
Sujoy likes Kamine Shahid. He doesn't like Kamina Shahid.
That's the one.
Yamini, what do you think of Deva?
I mean, I was just like going through like Shahid's filmography, right? And I was like, yeah, again, Shahid is not an actor that I particularly have like strong feelings for. Again, he's
Let me give this one to you, because like me and Sujoy, you're a Community fan.
yeah.
He's the Nicolas Cage of Bollywood. He has a 50-50 rate. Good movie, bad movie. Good movie, bad movie.
Yeah, is he like, it's like all actors are good or bad. Is he the bad kind of good? Is he the good kind of bad? Like, which one is he?
All right, Abid. All right, Abid.
No, but you know what? That is such a brilliant reference because maybe I will say it's because he's not bad in bad movies. It's just that the bad movies I don't want to watch. Period. So I don't care about it. Whereas I think he's really good in good movies. I don't know if I should go on record to say this, but I didn't mind Shandar.
Yeah, there's a
Because-
few crazy people out there that say these statements. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, including our top friend Beth.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a good film. I wouldn't be like, oh, it's on like my top lists of favorites or ever. But again, fine enough background movie. It's it's on the same realm as Ye Jawani Hai Diwani for me.
Wow. So that lowers Ye Jawani quite
No,
considerably.
Shandar has a great soundtrack as
Yeah,
well. Amit
yeah.
Trivedi killed it. So,
Yeah.
let's be
I
honest.
like that cross-dress song that they had.
Gulabo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Gulabo? Yeah, that I
Gulabo,
like.
right? Yeah, the one with.
Well, the women are cross-dressed, not
yeah,
the
the
men.
wo- yeah,
Like,
not
it would
the
be
men,
funny
yeah.
if he was in a Gagra or something like that.
Yeah, but
Gogo ji
again,
aapka ghagra.
but yeah, so I saw the Deva trailer and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of tired of gratuitous violence now. I think it's just I again like because we all watched like Kill last year, right? Kill was
Yeah.
the first like really violent film that I saw in a while that I actually felt like, oh, I'm watching something new.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed it. Like it was tight, it was solid, it was packed. Again, the three of us watched Animal together, and Animal, I took a full blown nap halfway in between. Woke up, still violence is happening. I'm like, wonderful. So yeah, with Deva, I think I'm like, it's a well edited teaser. I will give that. But I'm like, if Shahid is just going to do a rehash of what he did with Kabir Singh, but add like Ranbir and Animal, then I'm not really interested in watching this at all. Like I don't care. Like there's other
I
things.
liked it. I'm quite intrigued with it. I get the comparison you guys are making with Kabir Singh, but I don't necessarily feel the connection with this movie necessarily. There is one point that I want to like come up back to, Sujoy, because you were saying this too. Is that this idea of violence, right?
Yeah.
I think this always comes back. Like in Hollywood, you also have this where like very gory horror movie. There's a certain period. I remember we were having all of those Eli Roth movies and
Hostel
all of those
and Saw.
Hostel and stuff like that, right? And
Yeah.
I think what we're living through in Bollywood is the equivalent of that.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I read this theory ages ago, is that, like it's what's happening in the real world. And cinema is a reflection of that, right? There is just so much violence in the world, like in the countries and like around the world, that horrifically, kind of projected into our screens all the time. And then we have to deal with that. And this is how creative people deal with it, like ramping it up and making it cinematic or beautiful, or this time the hero is going to be doing the violence, right? But it's also just that it's the only way art can kind of express itself, it seems. And I think we're going to be seeing more of these. There's that movie Marco that came out. It's also the same thing, right? I was watching the trailer and it's kind of the same thing again, So, and I'm sure there's more movies. This is what they're making. So we're gonna have 2-3 years of this. Basically, everybody's gonna be doing it.
Yeah, we have
But
Baghi for the poster looks exactly like a scene from Animal, like the final scene where Ranbir goes nuts. It's pretty much
yeah,
the same sort of framing
yeah,
with the
and I also
Gandasa.
just and I also think these movies are in dialogue with young males,
Hmm.
young men. This is the audience that, I mean, I don't want to like genderify it, but this is speaking to young men and want to see violence and do violence and feel
Yeah,
that they're the ones that can take on 100 men, right?
yeah,
So, which is again kind of an interesting kind of juxtaposition, because they're all being quite successful, these movies, right? Marco is like, again, Animal was a huge hit, killed it quite well. Marco is the same thing. So I'm like, they're going to be making more of these. I just don't. There's going to be just movies that aren't as well made, like Baghi 4 will probably be.
yeah.
But I'm fully expecting, like, a poster soon with Ayushmann Khurrana holding a gun in a suit and like blood everywhere. Like, it would not surprise me if that
Yeah.
happens, right?
Like every single actor out there who's making movies right now will probably be cast in one of these
Yeah,
sort of movies, and every one of them will get one,
yeah.
I, I,
And also, how different is it Sikandar wants to do, right? Like,
Mm.
look at the teaser of Sikandar. I haven't talked about it because I want to wait for the trailer. It's Salman, after all. It needs a full thing. But it is essentially Salman in a suit, which we haven't seen in a while, holding a
Mm.
shotgun, reloading with his knee, which is the awesomest thing that you could ever see. But, it is essentially the same thing, right? Yeah, Yamini, you were saying?
um, I mean, with Ayushmann, I will be disappointed if he does that because I feel like he just did a wonderful, like, kind of commentary on it when he did an action hero.
Oh,
I
he
mean,
did actually. He
Yeah.
already did that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So it would be like, well,
yeah.
I get why you're doing it, but also, like, there's a superior film here already, which kind of
Yeah, parodies
negates
it, I
your,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I am not gonna watch the trailer though, because any excitement I have for Deva is
Mm.
probably gonna get sucked out when I watch the trailer. This seems to be one of those. Second that dropped was SkyForce, but honestly, I don't want to talk about it necessarily. Like, it seems to be, let's do fighter but cheaper and shitter.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have thoughts about Skyforce. Otherwise, we can move on.
I didn't watch the trailer. I had a choice between either Deva or SkyForce to watch before this, and I chose to watch
Yeah,
Deva.
good choices. Good choices. So, Joy, like, I think we should. I think I'm just gonna boycott this movie. I'm not gonna talk about it on the show. I'm gonna take it a bit further. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't want to go viral again on Skyforce this time. Basically,
You can copy paste the same tweet and just edit out the movie name, and that will be similar.
they dropped a Janab in there, man, very quickly. Like, there was a Janab. Like, guys, by the way, we were like at home, like I was with my family and my sisters and stuff like that. We were actively making fun of Janabs. Like, who think Janabs? How many Janabs are there? So yeah, stupid. Sujoy, let's go. You want to talk about it? I want to hear about Ravi Kumar.
So we were talking about we are about to cover the 80s Dhamaka series, right? And this movie just came out of the left field, no holds barred. Like in the promotional material itself, it says logic optional, 80s wala film. And like dialogue buzzy is like, when a movie is made like a PPT with bullet points, like these are the strong suits that we have, the pros and cons of watching this movie. And then you find out that Himesh Reshamya put his own money into it. And I'm like, aisa commitment, aisa conviction.
Dude is gonna make bank, man.
I
He's gonna get his return for sure. This movie is gonna make money for him.
either that or he's going to go for the Ram Rahim way. It's like
I think this is gonna work, man.
either he's going to make bank or he's going to go bankrupt. It's just this movie is going to be so bonkers. Like it has the same setup of that animal scene of the hallway fight. He's getting out a chainsaw, he's slashing people up in the trailer itself. You can see people getting slashed into two halves, like Jarasandh in Mahabharata,
Yeah.
And oh my god, and then you think that he is just a badass guy, and then he drops a Jai Mahabharat or something like Jai Hind at the end. Like there is a patriotism angle to it as well. I'm like, did Subhash guy like coked up and decide to direct this or something? I don't know. Oh man, this movie will be a treat to watch when you are definitely not in your senses. This is what I get from the trailer.
Yamini, how excited are you for badass Ravi Kumar?
Man, I see potential. I see potential in like a a gunda room, the the room kind of situation with this film. I 100% agree with Sujoy. I think it's gonna be like, if we go together, we will have such a blast.
We will
think
have
so too.
we will have Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gummies.
But I think this is what everybody will be thinking, right? Like, this is how you go to this movie and basically make fun of it. The thing is, the movie clearly is in on the joke, right? They know
Yeah.
what they're doing.
I
Right?
don't I don't know if they are projecting it as a joke or not, because I think to Himesh, his Delulu mind totally thinks he's like doing serious business here.
You know him more than I do because you watch these judging shows, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the guy, right? Is he really believes in the myth, or is he playing it?
I think he believes in the myth and the legend of himself. Like
Wow.
he's like that. You know that eye to eye guy. He's pretty
Yeah.
much like the next
He
level
is?
of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I find it interesting that he is sort of promoting it as the expose franchise, the next step in expose franchise, which like what the
The long-awaited follow-up to the expose franchise.
and there's Prabhu Deva as the villain boss. Oh my god.
He's dressed the way he was dressed in Mukala Mukabla,
Yeah.
which is even like, it's adding to it. 'cause
That's
I'm
called
like,
branding, Yamini. That's called branding.
I'm
Yeah.
like, Prabhudev were like, he retired directing, which, like, thank goodness. But like,
Has he?
that's what he said after, like, I mean, again, kya malum, like, he doesn't know.
Prabhu Deva's character's name in the movie is Carlos Pedro Panther.
Dude, you're not telling me this movie is not in on the joke. There's no way.
Come on. The thing is, right, like Sujoy brought up, like, where there's the nationalism angle, right, which is the Jai Mahabharat, whatever. But it comes in the middle of when Tandoori Days is playing.
Yeah. Oh my god. Usme bhi sequel. Like we had Tandoori Nights before, now we are having Tandoori Day. Freaking hell. Wow.
I think this is going to be fun. I think the movie is like in on the joke. I think like there's way like I don't know what we were watching the other day, and yeah, it was Baby John. We were watching Baby John, and Sujoy pointed out, oh, that shot is blue screen, and I was like, oh, I wasn't 100% sure. This is the opposite. Like you are 150% sure everything is on blue screen. Like they don't even hide it. But I do feel that I had a tinge of excitement when I saw a soundtrack by Himesh Reshammiya. I was like, oh, that's been a while. Like, I can like take a few songs from him. He's good at that. But yeah, I think this is like The Room, but with like, new technology basically, right? And I can enjoy that. I think he's in on the joke. I don't know if it'll get released in the UK, but if it is, I'm booking my Cineworld Unlimited card for a ticket, and we're all going. I'm taking you all. You're all going with me.
Going together.
साथ में सफर करेंगे. Yeah.
Yeah, talking of universes, there's another one that dropped. This Streeniverse.
Maddock Supernatural Universe.
Yeah.
MSU.
Oh my god, they ripped even that off. Oh my god. Yeah, so any excitement? Like I've been on record, I do not enjoy these movies at all. Like none of them. Like even like Bhool Bhulaiya, I rewatched. I'm going to talk about that maybe a bit later. I don't like them. I don't find them like they're horror comedies, right? I don't
Yeah.
find them funny. I don't find them horrific. So it's like,
Yeah.
what do I do then, right? Like, so I don't enjoy them. But we were speaking with P2, and she loves them. So I'm sure that she'll be excited about it. What about you guys? Yamini, what do you think of the MSU?
So personally, so I'm not a horror fan personally, but I do like horror comedies. I really liked 3 when it came out. I have not seen Munjia. I love Bhedia, but again, and that we'll talk about it later. But I am on the Varun Dhawan train. I've been on the Varun Dhawan train for like a couple of years. I want to see him succeed. And Bhedia, I adore him in Bhedia because he's just genuinely like he's so funny, like in
Yeah.
Bhedia, I thought. And but I think that's also the same thing as Yuasim because you're like, I like the people involved in it, which is like Varun and Kriti. Therefore,
Yeah.
like I like Bhedia. But that also being said, I did like Bhedia as a film. I am interested to see what happens, but personally, I didn't care much for Stree 2. I didn't understand why. Like when I watched it, I walked out a little bit disappointed. I
It's
was
a
like,
massive hit, though, right? Steel
but
2 is one of the
but
biggest hits, isn't it?
the thing
Yeah.
is also right. I feel like you see a dip in the quality because the first one was written by Raj and DK. Like this
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it was proposed by them. It came from like uh the whole or like Ostri Kalana, that thing. Like my mom said, when they were younger, like in the towns and everything, that was the thing that they used to write in Telugu. So it is obviously like it connected to them. And I thought it was just a really tightly written film. Whereas I feel like every one of the films since then, again, haven't seen Munjia, it's again getting like looser and looser because I don't think they thought of it as a franchise when they
Yeah.
first wrote 3, which is again my biggest issue with franchises. It's like if you have a plan to make a franchise from the beginning, you see the difference as opposed to when you're like, oh, let's jump on
You're
the
sort of
franchise thing.
retrofitting everything
You're
now. Yeah.
retrofitting
Reverse
everything.
engineering.
Because you see that with 3 too. Like I like when I was watching it, I was like, well, there's a bunch of like plot holes that they've tried to like cover up by creating like backstories or something, but it doesn't really make sense when you go back and watch the first one because you're like, why would she say this or why would she do this? You're retrofitting it, and that's gonna keep happening now with the rest of the series.
Yeah.
So I'll watch them, but I don't think I will have a strong opinion about any of them as much as I do about the first 3 because I really did really like the first 3. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
But there's like 20 of them now. Like, how many movies have they announced, right? There's not like,
The 8, yeah,
8.
and 2 every year, right? So there's
Yeah.
Thama, which actually I thought I was very excited for it when it was called Vampires of Vijayanagar. They changed it to Thama, and I'm like, that's not a nice title. Vampires of Vijayanagar sounded cool. The rest I don't even remember. I know there's a street 3 in there somewhere, and there's like a Maha something kuch to bhi
So
in there.
Pehla Mahayuddh, Dusra Mahayuddh is where it ends in 2028, where probably everything will come together. And then this year, Diwali is Thama, and 31st December is Shakti Shalini, which I think, like, props, that's an interesting name.
That's a nice name.
Yeah. Next year, it's Bhedia 2 and Chamunda. And then 2027 is 3 and Mahamunjya. Yeah. Those are the releases that they have proposed so far. 8 movies till 2028. That's very Kevin Feige of Maddock Films to do that. Yeah, I have like zero excitement for these, but I'm happy that Bhedia is getting a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing that I'm happy for in this.
Actually, guys, like quickly without like, because I have it in front of me, I think I undersold how big of a hit Stree was because it's actually the number 1 movie of 2024.
Yeah,
it made 800, almost 900 crores. Do you know the other 4 movies in the top 5 that made the most money?
In
No,
Bollywood.
without Wikipediaing, I wanna get a guess from you guys.
I'm guessing because I'm trying to remember the films. Can I open up my letterbox list?
No. Let's
Okay.
do it now.
Okay. Pushpa would be number 1, no?
Pushpa
Hindi,
was Bollywood.
Hindi.
Though, right?
Hindi only.
Such a memorable year,
I
2020.
Yeah.
Wait, what are films you watched together?
Fighter would be there.
Yeah,
Bhulbulaya,
Fighters there.
Bhulbulaya
Bhulbulaya
3.
3.
Yeah,
And
I don't think Singham Again. Is that also there?
it's number 3. Singham
Oh.
again is number 3.
okay, fair.
Okay, I'll give you the last one because you won't guess it. It's Shaitan.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
the funny-
About in 2024.
So the funny part is like Stree 2 made 875 crores according to Wikipedia. So it's not like 100% guarantee. Then it's Bhool Bhulaiya, Singham 3. How much do you think Singham again made compared to Stree? So Stree made an 875. How much do you think Singham made?
300.
389.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy? Like just like the amount of money they spent, the people they got involved, the push that they get, like all of the
Yeah. No, go for it.
all of the like kowtowing they did to religious sentiment,
Yeah.
political sentiments, all like sell out completely and not even make a third of Street 2. Like it's crazy to me, like it's
Yeah.
insane. Wow.
Pankaj Tripathi, more bankable star than Ajay Devgan.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I will say though, I do think like even if we're not that excited about the Maddox Supernatural universe, I do think like the films are gonna do well just because of how starved Bollywood is for comedy. Like we haven't had good comedies.
Madgaon, we had Madgaon, I think one.
Madgaon, yeah, but again, like Madgaon is like
Madgaon didn't make enough money.
No,
Yeah.
it didn't. Yeah. Maybe our comedy is just different from other people's comedy. Maybe that's the problem. Okay, let's get into some of the stuff we watched. I want to hear from you, Yamini. You watched Rifle Club.
Yes, I watch Rifle Club. So, like a friend of mine, he was like, I think you should go watch Rifle Club. Like Anurag Kashyap is the villain and everything. Because basically, this friend of mine, when we met, he was like a little bit angry at me for Pushpa because he's like, you guys turned our Fahad Fasil into a Joker. What the hell? And I'm like, yeah, like I wrote the film, right? Of course.
Yeah, I was like, why are you?
He's like angry at Telugu people by and large. But I think Rifle Club, honestly, I remember someone had used this adjective on Twitter for it. And I agree, by the time I got to the interview, it is a delicious little film. It is. It's again, it's not like, it doesn't have like the massive highs or any massive lows that you expect. It's like breezy. You just get to the interval before you realize it, and it's like tight. It's at 1 hour 55 minutes. Essentially, so I'll just like give you like a summary. It's basically like there's these two people who are kind of on a run because they accidentally kill the son of this Don, played by Anurag Kashyap. And they kind of seek refuge in this rifle club, which is in the Western Ghats. So somewhere like, I'm assuming, Wayanad, Idukki, like the mountains of Kerala. And that night at the rifle club, like the reason they go there is because the rifle club is hosting this actor who is going to be playing like a hunter in his next film. So they're like, okay, you come hunting with us in the night. And these people know him. So they're like influential person. And it's basically now the Don is like determined to seek revenge for the death of his son. And it's how these club members basically save their club, save the rifle club. They're all like master shooters, and they're just great at like shooting. And honestly, I think like 2024 was not a great year for most industries, but the Malayalam industry was just like putting out banger after banger. Like every month, like you turn around, there's one film that's getting like critical acclaim. Like
and even the mediocre one were still better than a lot of the Hindi movies, like the bigger hitters, right?
Yeah, because like I remember like every month I was hearing about like one film that was just like killing it. And again, the Malayalam industry is now like, because they don't have high budgets, so they also don't make a lot of money. Like Telugu industry for years we've been like, Telugu Hindi is like 100 crore, 500 crore. Like the most highest grossing Malayalam film to date was Manjumal Boys, which made like 250 crores or something. But it was made on a 10 crore budget. So like, obviously it's gonna like it's just the margins are amazing. And I think Rifle Club is the probably the last of that. Like it's it's an interesting one because it does have kind of like a lot of these people who you would have seen in different Malayalam films. You just have a bunch of characters, all these people who are really passionate about shooting. And one thing I will say, so I did my research, right? So it was sort of like a because there's this actress called Vani Viswanath, and she done like I know like her from a couple of Telugu films in the 80s and 90s, but she was basically known as like the action queen of Mollywood, like the Malayalam industry. And she basically plays this character called Ityanam, and she's the best shooter of the club. Like, so a lot of people were like, because I could see in the theater, like it was a small one, but like it was full when I went. And everyone, like the moment she came on screen, the moment like, you know, she's doing the shooting and everything, you could see like a collective wave of like, oh shit, like this was actually like this lady who was like badass when we were young. Like, and it's so amazing to see her um play the best shooter. Like she is the best shooter. But like everyone, like there's a scene where uh, so there's this character who's her ex-husband in the film, and when they're all kind of shooting like for defense and everything, and he goes like, Itti, you know, like you are terrifying as a wife, but you're like the best shooter of the club. Please kill them. Like you need to do this. And it was just nice. It was a good, fun, breezy film. I would recommend. It I think it does exactly what the director wanted it to do. I don't think he was going for like a massive, big, you know, spectacle. But it's nice. Like the highs are great, and there's some beautiful frames, and there's some great kick-ass dialogues, and I think it translates really well, even if you don't know Malayalam. So yeah.
So you didn't get a chance to watch this, right?
No.
It sounds intriguing, though, right? I'm like, I think I was while you were talking, I was just checking if it's still playing, but it's not. And it kind of came and went. I just completely missed it, or I was traveling when it happening. I'm not 100% sure. When
went
did you
to
watch
Ilford, so
You had to go to Ilford.
I went to Ilford.
Yeah, that no movie is for me worth it, like, except Mola Jet. I'll go for. Okay, yeah, no, I'll have to catch it on streaming when it comes out for sure. Are we going to Game Changer? Is anybody excited for Game Changer?
What is Game Changer?
This is a new Shankar movie, right?
The Ramcharan Kiara one.
Oh,
should we go?
Yeah.
Should we go?
Mean, yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's book tickets for next week. Yeah, because we're going to be watching Glass Blower, the first Pakistani anime movie. Me and Sujoy are going to go. So we're going to talk about that. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be shit Game Changer, but let's try to catch it. It could be fun. Did you guys watch the Anurag Kashyap interview? Speaking of Rifle Cup, by the way.
No, I haven't.
Because it's doing a lot of like, it's having a lot of like discussion going on the internet. I don't know how. Are you still engaged with like Twitter and like the discussions, Sujoy, or are you like completely off of it? I don't see you too much.
Yeah, it's a one-way channel for me. I'm just dumping my own thoughts and checking out. It's kind of like that. I don't want to engage with anyone right now.
Yeah,
it feels like I get totally bogged down, especially Twitter, which is like a cesspool of just Elon Musk's ego.
It's unmanageable, right?
Yeah.
It's like I don't know what I'm doing there. Like a lot of times, it's like it's weird. But there's a lot of discussion going on about the Anurag Kashyap interview, and I think actually it's because of that YouTuber Jammy Pants. I think basically Anurag Kashyap, and the thing is, I was watching the interview, and Anurag Kashyap, he almost reminds me of Kevin Smith to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he was kind of like part of this new hope of cinema, and I think he didn't translate that into like box office success.
Yeah.
And like Kevin Smith, sometimes he's more interesting listening to than watching the movies itself, right? Like, and I was just kind of making that parallel, and I think his interviews are fascinating, right? Like, and he was talking about how he's got 5 movies that he's already shot, and he the producers just don't want to release them.
Yeah.
One that we watched together, Yamini, Kennedy, right? Like we watched it last year.
Yeah, Kennedy has still not released, right?
Yeah,
It's weird.
And I remember Kennedy. I think we reviewed it on the show, if I'm not mistaken. Which I'm not like 100%. It's amazing as a movie, but it's interesting, right? And it comes from an interesting artistic place, and I think it should get a release. But on the other hand, I also don't know if in the current landscape, even if you release it, can it actually make money, right? And I think for a producer, that's always kind of the thing. Like, if I release it, it has to make money. But on the other hand, they have made the movie. So what are they even waiting for? They're not going to make money off of it if they just drop it on streaming, right?
I heard like Patch is getting a theatrical release this year after finally. I'll be able to watch it without the watermark.
Yeah.
Preview screening or something.
Yeah. So, and then the Jammy Pants tweet was basically, oh, if you can be part of the solution, why are you being critical? Be part of the solution. And a lot of people took umbrage from that. They were like, he's already made his movies, like he's proved his metal. Like, what more do you want him to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a lot of pushback on that. So I kind of watched the whole interview. I thought, again, it was like a very interesting thought. I don't think any of those remarks were like critical of anybody. Like, he even talks about, like, not directly but slyly, about all of the people that he made Phantom with. So I'm guessing that's Vikas Bal and that's Vikramaditya Motwani, and who else was in there? I'm not 100% sure who was in there.
Madhu Mantena. It was the
Was
four
he in
of
there
them.
too? Yeah.
Yeah,
And he was just saying that we came together for 8-9 years, and then the dream kind of broke because it was only my dream. Everybody, that's not like, I cannot impose my dream on everybody. We cannot be this creative collective and then make all of these movies, all of us together. But there was, I guess, also just a bit of slight disappointment, because he was saying, like, when I want to make a certain movie, even my famous actor friends, they just ghost me. They won't even take my phone call anymore. And that he was going to move out of India, that he was going to move out of Mumbai.
He's going to move to South. He's joining us up.
And he was very like praiseworthy of South cinema and like how collaborative it is, and reminds him of his days back in Gangs of Wasseypur, when they were kind of making that. And it was an interesting conversation. I really liked it. It is long, and it is also just a lot of ranting and raving going on. So I also understand that people are like, "What the hell are you talking about, man?" Because things weren't that great either when you were making Gangs of Wasseypur. It was a weird era, man. Like, I was watching Chandni Chowk to China with my daughter.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, this might be like
Nikhil Advani masterpiece.
So it was like, it's that era, right? It's that studio era where all of these studios were coming in, spending a lot of money. And those movies didn't work at all either, right?
Savaria as well, right? And then
there were a lot of...
Yeah.
There's that doggy picture.
I personally really like Khoobsurat. I really enjoyed it.
I really liked it, Khoobsurat, yeah.
But there were a lot of these made, and I mean, it wasn't like a massive hit, Khoobsurat, right? It was like, okay, right? But it was just the fact that, like, Chandni Chowk, my daughter didn't last 20 minutes. She was like, Papa, this isn't interesting for me. And I was like, yeah, my daughter makes good choices. It's good. It's okay. The movie still doesn't work, and it's like completely bigoted. I'd like forgotten... Nikhil Advani is a bigot. Like, he has a lot of elements, and it's like one of those liberal bigots, like, oh, I just love my country so much, but it's like every other country sucks. And I was watching it, and I was like, wow, this is really racist towards Chinese people, man. But you used to get away with that back in the day, I guess. But yeah, I was just saying that Anurag Kashyap was talking about the streaming companies coming in and messing up the ecosystem. But I was like, at that time, the studios came in and they messed up the ecosystem too, right? And I think it's just harder and harder to make these movies. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution necessarily is for them. And I mean, you watched Kennedy with me, right?
Yeah, I watched Kennedy, but honestly, with him saying, like, with you saying the studios thing and you saying that the streaming things also, like, I think Anurag just kind of needs to like reevaluate what he's doing, because I feel like what didn't work for him worked for someone who used to be his partner, like Vikramaditya Motwani, because a film like AK versus AK or Control would not have worked if it was put in the theaters. Those are very streaming movies, and it works for some creators. And I feel like Anurag Kashyap's films actually work better on streaming if he could find a way to get like Kennedy onto a streaming service. Because again, like India is kind of messed up right now with censorship and everything. Like at least until the censors weren't, poking their nose into streaming services, it was still fine because of a lot of stuff that was coming. And once that happened, it's now getting even harder for like filmmakers and creators to put their work in there. So,
but the thing is with both, I don't think Vikramaditya Motwani takes any stands in his cinema, right? Like there's no stand there, right? It's just like movies, right?
Yeah.
I think Anurag does. He does take a stand. I think Kennedy is a movie definitely that has things to say about the government and how they handled COVID and kind of the darkness of it and just the nihilism in it, right?
Yeah.
So he is saying things which I think is probably more dangerous than anything Vikramaditya Motwani or Vikas Bhal do, right?
Yeah.
And he also has movies that he came out on streaming and they didn't work either, right? Like he had that Almost DJ Pyar Vyar, whatever that movie was called.
Almost Pyar with DJ Mohabbat, I think. Yeah,
something like that. It was like a complicated title, right? So he's tried that too, right? So it's not that.
So I will say one thing. I think I also understand why the South kind of appeals to him. I think Amrita had made this point actually. I think last year or the year before, a couple of years ago, when there was this Telugu film that had released called Virata Parvam with Sai Pallavi and Rana Daggubati, like the one where he's playing a communist. And I do feel like South cinema, because of the way politics in the South, especially in say like places like Tamil Nadu and Kerala, it is quite removed as a result of there not being like a stronghold of like, because like now Telangana has like a Congress leader, so it's clearly like opposition and stuff. Like Tamil Nadu and Kerala don't exactly fit, like they fit into the coalition, but like they still do whatever the hell they want. And as a result, like the kind of cinema that comes out of it, you have filmmakers who have been able to get increasingly political. People like Paranjit, people like Mari Selvaraj, from the Tamil industry at least, who have things to say and who are able to say it because their immediate surroundings are not suppressing that. Whether or not like the censor board does it, it's still fine, but they're at least able to make the film and they're still like, they know that they have an audience. Which is why I guess Anurag Kashyap is like
moving south.
Because he's like...
But shouldn't he have a film nerd audience though? Like the guys that go to Mami. Shouldn't they all be watching his movies?
How much of the Indian audience is that Mami audience?
How much of the Indian audience is that?
It's not enough to generate profits.
Yeah. Because I was going through his filmography and like Ghost Stories, Choked, Dobara, Almost Pyar with DJ Mohabbat, they were all streaming releases pretty much, right? So he has been doing the streaming game, but Kennedy still can't find a place.
Kennedy, yeah.
Right? So yeah, it's just kind of, I get his frustration. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it's on THR, if I'm not mistaken, the interview. So if you haven't checked it out, I would suggest, check it out. But it really bums you out, man. It bums you out. We've got a few more things, but I think let's shift that to Patreon, I think.
Okay.
I have watched Bhool Bhulaiya 3. I watched RRR Behind and Beyond, the documentary. And then we have a few non-desi things that we wanted to talk about, like Squid Game, Shrinking, Nosferatu. But that's going to be a Patreon exclusive. So let's, if you want to listen to that part, join Patreon. It's going to be another episode there. Let's get into our main review, which is Baby John.
सोचो कि तुम एक गाड़ी में जा रही हो और रास्ते पर एक भैंस बैठी है। छोटी वाली या मोटी वाली? अगर तुमने प्यार से वो भैंस को बुला, हटो, क्या वो हटेगा? नहीं हटेगा।
Yeah.
Baby
Go ahead.
John revolves around a DCP who transforms and travels to a different place in order to safeguard his family.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's directed by Kalis, if
Yeah.
I'm mispronouncing. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Stars Varun Dhawan, Vamika Gabbi,
Mhm.
and Kirti Suresh in it, and Jackie Shroff, obviously. Did you say it's a remake of Theory?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a remake
Yeah.
of Teri. Yeah.
Yes, Sujoy, you and me watched it in an absolutely empty theater. There were a couple behind us,
Yeah.
um, and what, like, I don't know, like, we came slightly late. It wasn't the, like, I'd gone to my parents for Christmas break, so I came in and the movie had already flopped. Like, it was clear that nobody was watching it. Empty theater pretty much on. I think we went on Boxing Day, if I'm not, no, on New Year's Eve actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
31st. So we went on Tuesday. It released on the Friday.
yeah,
And the Tuesday evening show, and like it was 4 people in a super
yeah.
screen Audi. So it
And
was amazing.
as soon as I came out, I texted Yamini because I had told her, "Come watch this, discuss this movie on the show with us." And I was like, as a big brother, I cannot let her watch this movie. I was like, "Yams, please, it's really bad. I don't want you to go alone. Like, it's gonna be so bad." So I did my duty. But yeah, Sujoy, I know what you feel. Yamini, I want to hear what you feel about Baby John.
Like अपने फेवरेट पॉडकास्ट पे आने के लिए क्या क्या नहीं करना पड़ता है
यार तुम फ्री में तो नहीं आ सकते ना, like, तो वो कंटेंट ना.
कीमत चुकानी पड़ती
Yeah.
है.
Yeah, the thing is, right, it's a nearly shot for shot remake of Theory. It's pretty much like I mean, there are some things I feel like there is just a lot more like unnecessary gratuitous violence against women in this one as opposed to Theory. It's very intense. And I was also sitting and thinking, and I was like, I get why Varun did. I get, like, because one, it's Atlee produced it. Jawan was one of the biggest hits of 2023. He gets to play like a masala cop, all of this. But the thing is, right, from time has really changed from when Theory came out to right now. Like, Theory came out in 2016, pre when we had like internet, like anything. It was like just pre the geo revolution with making internet like cheap and accessible and everything. Um, it's your run of the mill masala thriller. It's it had like a couple of good songs. It had like Vijay with his star power, whatever. Um, and it was not something that like people hadn't seen before. It was just, again, it was just like your regular
Cookie
Friday,
cutter
like
movie.
cookie cutter blockbuster thing. The thing is, that movie came out when I was 20. I am nearly 29 now, and I am like, this is not stuff I've seen. Like, we've seen a revolution happen, right? We saw pandemic come in. We've seen like many of these films. We've gone back and watched like Hindi films that were also like this. It's just, I don't know. And also, honestly, I feel bad. I felt like it was like a hate crime against Malayalis. Like, it was like, it's like we're what's the word? We are punishing you for doing so well with your industry this year. Like, Suno, listen to Varun
Fair.
Dhawan speak in Malayalam. Like, which, when that happened, I was like, why couldn't they just set it? Like, the thing is, setting it in Kerala doesn't really add anything to the story. They could have just as easily set it in like a coastal town in Maharashtra and have Varun speak in Marathi, a language he actually knows.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I mean, if you want to show, you want to do this, whatever, but I wasn't sold on it. I thought Varun was really cute with the kid, but I think that's about it. Yeah, it was just like a whole load of, I don't know why they made the changes. There was that weird like wanted reveal of like Vamika Gabbe.
That
which
is so weird. That
which
is, yeah, yeah. I
which
want to talk about that because
yeah.
I don't agree with such shot for shot remake.
Mm,
Actually, I think this movie has a very different directorial stamp and vision,
mm,
and it has a massive influence of what Jawan tried to do.
yeah.
Like that's where the different directorial style is coming from, and that's what makes this movie different from Theory. But Sujoy, quickly, what are your thoughts about Baby John?
So before watching this movie, I am actively disengaged with the conversation, but even then the whole negative reviews and the response to this movie had seeped into my timeline in a way. I knew like this was not going to be a fun movie. We watched it expecting that, and even then I got disappointed how badly this movie has been executed.
Joy
Like,
was getting actively mad in the theater. Like, I could see him like getting like
yeah,
raging about it.
like this movie on a script level, just a story level, does not make sense. Like
No.
it tries to do something and then it undoes the same thing in the next scene, and I'm like it feels like a group assignment and nobody quality checked the final draft of this movie. Like, there is a scene that has happened and then the next scene Jackie Shroff forgets that he's already known that Varun is alive.
Yeah.
And like, what the hell is happening? Like, he's already made that the school bus derail and fall into the thingy as a badla to say that, oh, I am coming for you, and he's already in prison. But then the next scene he's out of prison and he is getting all surprised that Varun is out. It does not make sense. Like, it's such a terrible job done in this movie, and I feel so bad. The overall tone of this movie is like very 2016 Vijay, which I don't think Varun can replicate because Varun does not have that star power. Um, like, I don't buy Vijay's star power. I'm not part of that fandom, but I know that that particular fandom exists. And so 2016's Theory is a sort of nod, a wink to that fandom, right? And that's why Theory exists as a star movie, whatever. But Varun does not have that fandom, does not have that pull to be doing all of those, like, twinkle twinkle little star bit, or the moment he has done a villain pitai, or a villain revenge, a rape revenge on the villain, he is winking and putting on sunglasses and putting his feet up like a hero. It's just a stark
Yeah.
shift of pitch. Like, you are making the hero righteous, but also you're trying to make him look like a comic book like character. It's just so terribly done. Like, if you really wanted to remake, why not make it keeping in mind that this is a Varun Dhawan led movie? So you have to keep that what is his strengths. He can do comedy, but it's not like right how he is cosplaying Vijay in this movie in a
Yeah.
way, and it's so terrible. uh, to Yamini, why they you mentioned they picked Kerala as the backdrop of this movie. Why did they do that? I can tell you the specific reason why they did that, and it is so that Rajpal Yadav could wear that wig and become a Malayali. And yeah, oh my god, that like so they had not revealed Rajpal Yadav. Like, the first song where Varun is playing with the daughter and he's being very happy, and you see this really lovey-dovey relationship, and you see this other character being with them, and I was like, to Asim, that's Rajpal Yadav, right? And Asim was like, what? Really? In that wig? And then obviously you get that reveal that Rajpal Yadav used to be his colleague before and all of that
Hmm.
shit. But yeah, this movie did not work for me, man. Even with all those, scathing reviews that this movie has got, it really, like, it. I went with really low expectations, and it just managed to even like go below that. And obviously, we will talk about that cameo, which feels like it feels like a Big Brother, a Big Boss episode cameo. It feels
Yeah.
like nobody scripted that, and Salman was given free reign, and they kept rolling, and they went for all the Indian festivals. It felt like a spoof of a cameo. We will talk about that in detail, I guess,
Well, let's talk
because
about it now, to be honest, because
yeah,
like I think they even like these are the second cameo Salman has done now, right? He
Mhm.
has
After
done
Singham.
Singham
Oh
again
God.
and this one, and they hyped this up so much. Both times they hype it up so much. I don't know why. Like he's like Salman is just an actor, right? He's just a star. Like I don't understand where 30% of the marketing of the movie is based on Salman Aega. Like why? Like
Yeah.
is this all just Pathan? I mean, is this all the Pathan hangover? You know?
Yeah.
Um
And if given that they are doing that, this movie has flopped so hard. I
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think there is going to be any possibility of making the franchise that it wants this to become, right? They introduced Agent Baby John, then they introduced Wamika as Agent something, I can't remember.
Adira,
Adira.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then obviously the last of them is the Masterstroke Agent Bhaijan, which is yeah,
Doesn't make any sense.
it
Like
took
this
literally 2 brain cells to write that,
like the cameo is so bad that it makes the Singham cameo look better. Like that was a terrible cameo, you know.
And also, the cameo is so bad, but they are banking on it so much that
Yeah,
it really negates the importance of the protagonist of the whole movie. Like, Baby John is a baby now.
yeah.
Mm.
So, Yamini, you were gonna say something?
You know, I missed that part of the online conversation where Salman had a cameo, because when I walked into this film, I had no idea
Mm.
that Salman was going to be in it. But then the thing is, like, in the end, right? Like, when the moment, like, they started going, like, ye aega, I was like, why do I feel like it's Salman? And then the moment I saw Salman, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like,
So
okay.
there's something common between the Singham cameo and this cameo, that both cameos are not at all combined with the plot, right? They don't matter in
Yeah.
the scheme of things of the story. Like at one point where I see the main characters of this movie cornered and they can't escape, I thought that will be a pivotal point to introduce this character if they really want to integrate into the plot. But obviously they could probably get one day to shoot because Salman Bhai is busy shooting Big Brother. So they make him do these inconsequential one-day shoots where I don't know even Varun got to meet Salman Khan or not, if they are in the same room or not, or just green screen, whatever. And then they shoot those scenes as like a sort of a teaser of what things could be, but they are not even interested to make this thing possible or this thing interesting enough. Yeah, it's just a terrible choice after terrible choice. And also that cameo, like the slow motion, like 360 degree that this Khalees guy is so obsessed
It's
with
so
that,
obsessed with it,
like
right?
it
It
happens
makes you
3-4 times.
dizzy.
Yeah,
It makes you dizzy, yeah.
it's literally like Kyuki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, the main character giving in a monologue and the camera work is just, yeah, maut tak hua.
I told the story earlier that Varun basically cheated me to watch Dilwale. I don't know. I told the story at a previous episode, and I have to say again, I think Varun, you need to stop lying. That's
Yeah.
one of the problems you're having
Oh,
here.
I remember that clip, right? He says in one of the press interviews, like, if you liked Inception, you will like Dilwale or something. And it's just like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
And here he said, आपको बेबी जॉन में ओजी भाईजान देखने को मिलेगा, ये मेरा प्रॉमिस है. This is the promise that you will see the original Salman in it. This is a basic lie, Varun. If you don't want to attract, the evil eye, stop lying about this stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like, I understand promotion.
Paap lagega, Varun. Paap
Yeah,
lagega.
100%. Like, that's why his movies isn't working. Like, he's cursed at the moment,
Yeah.
And just like huge Salman Khan fan, you know this already. Everybody knows
We
this.
are all Varun fans as well.
Yeah, we
Also-
all want Varun to do well.
Salman looks terrible in
Yeah.
both cameos. I don't know who's styling him at the moment, what the hairpiece is, what the beard thing is going on, who's dressing him. He doesn't look good. He looks good in Sikandar. He looks great in Sikandar. Why does he look so bad, and why is this being approved as the cameo? I don't understand. Yeah, Yamini?
No, I was so convinced, like in the Singham cameo, like it's not him. It's just like kisi ke muh pe, like they put green screen and put Salman's face on
Kisi ka
it.
muh, kisi ka muh, kisi ka bhai.
Kisi ka bhai. Literally. This one also, I like when he turned up, I was just like, yaar, like uncle ko like rest karne do yaar. Why are you doing this? Like, It's
Yeah.
yeah.
No, for me, it's not the uncle part of it because he's old. We all accept he's an older man. I can understand like he can still kick ass cinematically. That all makes sense, right? But at
Mm.
least you know, check his visuals, like check his
Yeah.
dressing.
That's literally the job.
Yeah, that's
One
literally
job.
check lighting, check camera angles. Like
Yeah.
this is all I'm saying, I'm not saying he shouldn't do it. He's not a badass. He's not like he has a presence, he's a star, all of that. But
Mm.
just check his hair, yaar. Check the filter you're putting on him. Like that
But the
part
thing
I
is,
don't see.
Asim, they're not even doing it in films where Salman is the main actor. Why would they
Yeah.
do it for like a cameo?
Yeah.
True.
So my thoughts on Baby John, to come back to this. I I've said this before. Vijay is one of those actors that I don't understand. He makes cinema that's not for me.
Mhm.
It is overtly sentimental. It is overtly gruesome, and it's filled up with inherently dumb shit. Like that's
Yeah.
how I see Vijay movies. But I watched Baby John, and then I went back to watch Theory. It's Theory, right? Theory
Yeah.
or Theory? How do I pronounce it? Theory
Theory.
with a H.
Terry,
Yeah.
Terry.
I
Yeah.
watched it, and even I can admit that Theory is a better movie than Baby John is. Like
Mhm.
it knows what it wants to be. It knows it's delivering to its audience, and it's delivering it quite well. I enjoyed Theory more than I did than Baby John. And I like Varun a lot. I want him to do well, but this is not it, man. Like, it's just a lot of things they've chosen to remake shot like exactly the same, and some things they've decided to completely change, and
Hmm.
everything that they've changed is a bad choice.
Yeah.
Like they for example, like even the things that they remade are bad choices. One of the things they do is they have these comedy horrific villains. Like Jackie Shroff wants to be a horrific villain, but he also wants to do some comedy on the side. And I think that seems to work in Telugu movies or in South movies. It's not a thing that works in Hindi movies, I
Yeah.
don't think. Like Amrish Puri needs to be Amrish Puri,
Yeah.
right? And then on the side, you have somebody else that is doing the comedy. I don't think, like, is Jackie Shroff doing a speech or on how would you feel if you ordered some food from Uber and then the driver ate your food, and then making that about human trafficking and raping women. Like I don't understand what am I supposed to feel here? Am I joking at the idea that we've all had, oh, if we order food, some Uber driver is going to eat it or spit in it, and then compare it to rape? Like how does that like work, right? Or when um the beggar is he has like a begging network, and you have this horrific shot of where he's put like a rod in the eye of the little cute girl and he's blinded him, but he's also then, oh, he's so hot, let's seduce her with Kirti Suresh the doctor. Like how are we supposed to match those sentimentalities as Hindi viewers? I think with
Within a span of 5 minutes, right? That
Yeah.
whole scene is like we've rescued these little poor kids, but the next scene they're flirting, and then like, oh, meri shift idhar khatam ho rahi hai, tu bus mein mil.
yeah.
And
But I mean, that's there in Terry as well, kind of.
That's what I mean. I think in theory it works because the audience accepts that kind of thing.
Hmm.
I don't think Hindi audiences, we accept that. It
Yeah.
doesn't work for us. This is
Yeah.
too sudden a shift. And I think just remaking those exact same shot doesn't work. Like the shot of the kid eating the chocolate because he got 10 rupees back from the evil builder. I'm sure that works in Telugu movies. It does not work in Hindi movies. It does not work.
Hmm.
So those are the things that they just remade wholesome that were bad choices, right? Then there's things that they change, and those are also bad choices.
The entire that's what I want to talk about. The entire like women trafficking
Yes.
ring angle is not there in Terry.
No.
Like Terry is the whole. It's just a basic revenge thing, right? Like where like the villain is angry at Vijay because he killed his son, and that's what he's trying to do, and ends up killing his wife.
He's just
and
a
mother.
politician.
He's just a politician.
He's just a politician. Here he's some
which could
Heath
have
Ledger
worked in
Joker
this also.
type of psychopath,
Yeah.
human trafficker, raper going on in there. And it's not necessarily needed, right?
And just we are in 2024, guys. We are saying that Jackie Shroff, who is a tilak wielding villain with his chair and all, like he's marrowing ustra on everybody, And at the very the next scene where his son just pops up from nowhere with all the tattoos, we were like, "Ye to marega abhi." And he's like, "मेरे को minister बनना है," and Jackie Shroff is like, "हाँ, तू चल finance minister, तेरे को बनाया है." Like, what the hell is happening?
No, and the scene that like super disturbed me, which is like what you said, Asim, is a scene that they add, which is a terrible choice, which is basically choosing to like burn this little girl who's been like raped as they try to save her.
Yeah.
That's not there in Terry. In Terry, it's directly she's in the hospital and she's not a child. She's like an IT worker.
Yeah.
Like she's an IT employee.
Yeah.
Who's obviously like, you know, been assaulted and everything. But what actually doesn't choose to show that happening on screen.
Well, and when you raise that kind of
As far as I
gruesomeness
remember.
towards the women character, then you also raise that gruesomeness towards the revenge you're exacting on
Yeah.
the
The men.
villains. And that is also not necessary. The gruesomeness of how Jackie Shroff's son is killed, they really freeze on it, right?
Yeah.
And that's not necessary. That doesn't impact us the way it needs to impact us, right? It doesn't make any sense.
So that whole scene is, again, like the logic of this movie when they reveal the son being killed, right? And you see, because that's pretty much the scene before the whole reveal that Varun himself reveals to Jackie Shroff that I killed your son, do whatever you like, right? Just before that, like the doctor comes in with the autopsy, because the autopsy report hasn't done, because the body is still there on site, and she's already like, oh, this is this feels like an act of like passion, because all of this has already been done, and she can tell that just by looking at the corpse. And like, what the is happening with this movie? Like, yeah,
she's a criminologist, criminal profiler as well. She's a criminal psychologist, like
and that's in
doctor.
theory, he just kills them and hangs them upside down on the bridge.
Yeah.
Right? But because they have to burn the girl, they now have to burn the thing and show his body. And that's like, why are you doing this? You know, it
these
doesn't
are
make
choices.
any... These are actual choices where they're changing things, and these choices don't work. The other thing is also the movie Theory. It's about this guy, Joseph, with his daughter. That's where the movie starts, right? Like here it's already, and Sujoy, you missed it because you came in slightly late. This first shot is women getting trafficked in meat sacks, right? And then these women are like, I believe somebody will come save us. Title shot, Baby John. That's how the movies. So we already know Baby John is some sort of badass. You see in the credit sequence already, you know, Varun Dhawan's six pack and his hair flowing and the bloody thing. So the whole idea of this big reveal happening later on is already busted, right? We've seen constantly these things of these women are getting trafficked, they're getting raped, and all of this stuff is happening, and somebody will be the savior, and that savior is Varun. When in theory, that's not the case at all, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like, what's that movie, History of Violence, where it's almost like, oh my God, what's happening here? He's actually a badass. And we know Vijay is a badass, that's gonna happen. But the movie has to follow some sort of rules. And Baby John refuses to do that. And I think that's where the mistake lies. And then it's also these exaggerations that they put in, right? Like there's this, the idea that... Varun Dhawan has gone away, or Vijay's character has gone away, and then he comes back as a vigilante, right? But why is he then dressed in full cop uniform? That doesn't make any sense, right? Like, why would he do that? I think in Vijay movies that can make sense. I think, again, in Hindi movies that does not make sense. Why would you even wear that whole... Well, it's raining, you're going to kill people in a warehouse. Why would you wear a hat? It doesn't make any sense, right? But then there's also just like the idea where, you know, where there's an accident that's happened and the woman goes to complain about, my daughter's been kidnapped, and the cop is just munching on this biryani in the most disgusting way, right? That's added. That's not there in theory. Like the whole biryani sequence is not there. But again, they have to ramp it up, make him even more villainous than he needs to be. Not only is he a disgusting cop, but he also eats disgustingly. I don't know what that adds
And
to the
also that
movie.
whole scene is shot again like Varun is some sort of a ghost. It very much looks like a scene from Bhul Bhulaiya.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a completely departure from the rest of the aesthetic of the movie. Like they show that oh yeah, Baby John has come back, or whoever. Well, it's Surya something. What's his other
Satya.
name? Satya has come back. The legend of Satya has come back. But then it shows like what the hell is happening, right? It's just.
But that's the other thing, this idea of this hero cop, right?
Mhm.
Like this hero cop, but not also hero cop, he's also the savior of women. Like
Yeah.
and this obviously is coming from Jawan, right? This is what
Mm.
Jawan was trying to do. And I think because obviously Atlee does he's the producer of it. They wanted to add this kind of sensibility to this movie too. And I think that's just again a complete misstep, to do that and do it this way, because then you need to make him like some sort of cop savior of women. It's like bhaiya save me and all that kind of
Mhm.
thing that's going on. But the movie doesn't care about these women. There's like all of these women are kidnapped, they're being treated horrifically. Do you know the name of any of these women?
Yeah.
Can you, if you put them in a lineup, can you even tell you this was her daughter or that son or anything like that? Even the scene where the girl gets kidnapped, like a really tiny girl that they take to rape, right? Why does the father have to also be a mute? That's not there in the original movie. He's just like a poor guy, and he can make a speech and say, look what they did to us. Nobody's going to care about this. We're not going to get justice. But in this version, he also has to be a dumb mute. Why add that layer to make it elevated when the movie is not there in terms of quality of filmmaking or
Mm.
storytelling? I think that's where the mistake lies with Baby John, that it's not even being a straight to straight remake, because that wouldn't work, right? A remake wouldn't work. So they have to elevate it, they have to exaggerate it, they have to make it Jawan, and that's they failed on that on every front. And I think that's one of the problems with Baby John, unfortunately. And Varun's lying. Stop lying, Varun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is also the only movie where Shiva Chadha is killed. I've not seen her die on screen.
No, I have not.
That's
Ah.
such an odd observation. I'm not trying to remember all the films she
Because
watched.
she's always like the happy-go-lucky or like mother or the chachi.
She's good in it. I
Yeah,
do think she
I
was
like
her
her.
I like her.
scenes were fun. What did you think of the women, Kirti Suresh and Vamika Kavi?
I actually like Sania Malhotra's cameo more than
Yeah,
everything.
she was great. Yeah, and like I was saying, I think Varun and Sanya should do a movie together.
Yeah.
They really have matching energies.
Yeah. दोनों
Like-
मतलब छिछोरे एकदम.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, honestly, I get that you're right, because I feel like the two of them are both really good at physical comedy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think it would just work out very well.
They
But
will be amazing in a David Dhawan movie, I think.
Yeah.
oh shit, yeah.
I did not like Vamika in this
Movie.
yeah, again they add this whole story, and again
And
Theory is not a masterpiece. Theory is not a masterpiece. I watched it. Amy Jackson is in there. I was like, Amy Jackson is
She has the Deepika from
really-
83 wig.
it's really bad. Yeah, the 83 wig. Yeah,
83 wig.
she's really bad in it too. Like that whole plot is ridiculous. But at least they established that there's a love story between the teacher and Vijay's character, right?
Mhm.
Here, did you ever feel that there was any love being developed between these two? No, right?
No, but also they sort of cut that love story short by revealing that there is a ulterior motive behind Awamika's character pursuing Varun. But does that pay off? Like she becomes the agent, sure, but what the?
No,
Why? Why was she
Why?
an agent? Why was she even
It's just-
agenting?
It makes no sense, because honestly, when that happened, I was like, why did they give her the Pokeri wanted, like that sudden reveal,
Yeah.
like, oh, she was a police inspector agent all along, and I'm like, but this is not a twist. Like this makes no sense to me. Like
She went
this,
undercover to find Varun's undercover.
yeah.
Is that what the mission
Is
was?
that
Like,
what
I was
it
wondering
is?
what the mission was.
Yeah. That's why she went undercover as a school teacher in a locality where she probably thinks Varun's daughter goes, right?
But
Also,
if the mission is to find him, she found him. Like, why did she need to be a teacher?
I
Like,
just
just
Google
call.
search and found him. Like
It's a text. It's like Milia. That's it.
that, and also like the bit where she takes the traffic girl to the police station and she takes Varun where he has his like Malayalam monologue. Like why did she have to put his name? Like then if she's already an agent, like it
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Yeah. It
And
makes no sense.
also like the bad dubbing in this movie, man. So much bad dubbing in this movie. Yeah.
I did like Kirti Suresh though. I'm looking forward what's next for her. I thought she had like a very pleasant experience,
Presence.
presence. Yeah, I thought she was nice. I have not seen any of her other work,
I've not
but I
seen
thought
any
this
of
was
you've not seen like Mahanati or
Mahanati.
like
no. I'm
That's
not.
the only movie that I watched of her, and she was amazing in it.
she's brilliant. But the thing is like, okay, I feel like people who are like Kirti Suresh fans, I genuinely feel like Mahanati was a massive fluke for Kirti Suresh. I think because the thing is, right, she did Mahanati and I thought it was like a stroke of brilliance, like from Nagashwin to like cast her as Savitri and like all of that. But every film that she's made since then, I have hated. I think she's like fine when she does these roles because I think the first like sort of like masala heroine role she did was in this film with Mahesh Babu called Sarkarwari Pata, which was like she was just playing like a flower pot role. It was what it was. Again, this role, she's nice. It's like what you said. She's pleasant, but I don't think like her being in it adds to. But to be fair, I feel that way about Vamika as well. I don't think that it's just these could have been played by any women. It's this being her Bollywood debut is like I'm like okay.
I think they had higher experience. They really thought they would knocked it out of the park with this one. I think they thought this was going to be a massive hit, right? So I think that's what they were probably hoping for. I think she.
There is a whole mismatch between the promotion of Baby John and what we got. Like the promotion obviously went from the first teaser drop hyper violent or Bollywood ka John Wick, in a way, because that whole action sequence where he's going bam 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 bam, it was also released when Monkey Man was coming out, right? And we were like, at least for me, I was like, okay, we are doing something new, and I'm really excited to see Varun try this genre, because that's what I thought. And then I got to know that it's a Theri remake, and I was like, okay, maybe they can do something new with this. And obviously there is our friend Justin Rao did a whole article on THR about how the promotions that came after the initial teaser went heavily on the songs and dance and the romance aspect of this movie, and everybody sort of got confused whether this was a romantic movie or an action thriller or whatever. And then Varun, obviously, in the promotional run of this movie was more about joking with the actresses and all of that. But the initial promise of those action scenes of the movie and what we got to see in this movie, they are brilliantly shot for sure, like really hyper slow motion, but it's nothing new at all. Like the action scenes, and also the thing that propels those action, like the first reveal of Satya, like being revealed as Satya, is the supporting character, the Sardar police officer, just making that same typical Telugu film gold mines template dialogue, like "तू नहीं जानता वो कौन है, पाप का सीना चीर के निकलेगा तेरी."
Surya hai wo.
It's that, right? So, सूरज का सातवां घोड़ा है वो. It's pretty much that, and I'm like, khoda pahar nikla chuhiya. It's very much that.
But I want to get back to the Kirti Suresh character a little bit, because I actually watched Theory because Samantha was in it. That was the reason why I was like, initially I was like, I'm not going to enjoy the Vijay movie. I was like, oh, Samantha is in this. And I've never seen her do like a flower pot role before. Like I've only seen her in Super Deluxe and Honey Bunny, like all of these other things, you know, like Family Man 2. I've never seen this Samantha. So I was like quite surprised to see her this way. But it really struck again to me how sensibilities do not translate always, right? It's okay, it's one country, but that sequence where she gets killed, right? She's asking him, what kind of wife am I? And his answer is, you are another mother to me. I don't think, like, I don't know, maybe that's me. I'm even more detached from Desi culture than you are, Sujoy. Is that the final words you would say to the person you love? You are another mom to me? No, right? Like, I don't understand. It was, if this is the big Gajini sequence, right? This is what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
If that's your final thought about your wife, I don't get it. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel with that, you know? I don't compare my wife to my mom. Like, it's a weird thing to do. Like,
I want to circle back to that again, like that whole sequence of them meeting the parents, right?
Yes.
Like that's like when we were watching that sequence, because the theater was empty, we were pretty much having a mini podcast of our own, me and us, and actively discussing the movie whilst we were watching it, and like it's so clear that just dudes wrote this movie, right? And it's so clear that when Shiva Chadda and Kirti Suresh, like the Ma and Bahu meeting scene happens, like meri maa nahi thi, you will be my mother, and she's like, meri beti nahi thi, tu meri beti banogi. And then the same thing happens when Varun meets his father, like, mera baap nahi tha, tu mera baap banega, aap sab mere khandan mein ho abhi. Like, kya chal raha hai, Bharat Milap and everything else. It's just, oh man, it's just a freaking, like, yeah, bache log wrote this scene, man.
The other sequences also, and we're wrapping up. Honestly, I'm wrapping up here. But there's the sequence where at the finale, the little girl, who, by the way, I thought is a very cute little girl. I saw a lot of criticism about how annoying this kid is. The kid is not annoying. Like, the kid is fine. Like, there's a certain, and I see this with a lot of like film reviewers. They're of men of a certain age, you know, like they're like not married yet, they're close to commitment with Donne. There's a moment where they become very like, I don't like kids. And I just find that very a funny age of men, and it then projects in their film criticism. Like, all these kids are, no, it's just a kid, man. Like, it's fine. Like, you don't have to have a kid now. Do not project your fear of commitment to every other child around you. Like, these things are not connected. I just find it funny. Aside, the thing is, the original kid was like this too. This was the same kind of kid. The kid is actually a shot-for-shot remake, right? But then they have this sequence with Jackie Shroff at the end where she's calling him Dadu. Like, Dadu, why did you kill my mom and stuff like that? And becomes this whole thing about how I raise my children towards how you raised your children. And I was like, again, ye point bhi aana tha. Like, this was also a point that the movie was trying to make. And it didn't land on me. And these are supposed to be these big emotional moments, right? Kirti Suresh dying, him calling her mom, the father, his parenthood versus her parenthood, the saving of the children, Wamika Kabhi being Salman Khan being Salman Khan. All of these moments, when you look at it in a screenplay, these should have been the high points, right?
Yeah.
And all of them consistently are disappointing, not underwhelming, disappointing. And I think that's kind of the problem with this movie. Like, none of the highs hit and the lows are very low. Like, even the songs are not memorable at all, you know? I think
and it's so sad because they are mounted on such a huge scale, right? You can see production mein paisa dala hai.
Yeah.
And Varun is dancing his ass off. And
such a good dancer also.
But the song is shit.
Yeah.
It's a song koi reel mein bhi nahi banayega.
Yeah. And they try so much. They like Nen Matakka and all. They tried it, you know, like it. No. Nobody's buying it, Varun. Stop lying. Stop lying.
Why are you lying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
so sad, Varun.
no
Yeah,
sad. And I was excited, man. I was like,
yeah.
Baby John, like,
Dude, when we did the countdown for 2020, like the 2025 Wrapped, we were like, "Oh, Baby John still hasn't released, so we don't know yet.
yeah.
साल
I
का
have to
बड़ा hit
point
क्या
out.
होगा?"
I have to point out, as an avid listener of Khandan, only you said that, Sujit.
Sure, मैं
Amrita
लेता
was,
हूँ, मैं
Amrita
लेता
was
हूँ.
like, do you really think कि होगा?
नहीं, like that was the amount of goodwill I had in my heart कि
For Varun.
Varun just gave us Citadel Honey Bunny,
Yeah.
and he excelled in it. Like I
Brilliant.
really enjoyed what Raj and DK did with the plot and how they introduced action in Varun's world, and Varun really like brought the masala in that. He has the funnies but also the badassery, right?
Yeah.
So I was team Varun. I was going into this. Sab hug diya.
And also, Varun doesn't even look bad in a police uniform. I thought even
No,
the
like the
Vardi suits him.
haircut is so good.
It looks good. Like, yeah.
It's very East London boy haircut.
Ah.
Yamini has experience with East London boy haircut.
Yes,
That's her
because I moved to East
demographic.
London, not because of any other reasons.
No, but he looks good. Sometimes, like, you wear the uniform and it just looks, doesn't fit, like Salman and Patthar Ke Phool, it's not sitting well. But he looks good in it. So, yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. I think he really relied on Atlee and Khalees to kind of lead this. And I think this is ultimately the failure of Khalees. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as
and the team behind it,
yeah,
for sure.
because he promoted the crap out of it. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's a bit like because he's from the Karan Johar school of promotions, right? That the more he pushes something, the worse the movie is. Like, I think that's what's happening. Yeah,
I actually feel really bad for him.
I do
in that
too.
way.
I really like
But
him. I really like Varun, and I hope he gets it's not been a few good years for him. I hope he gets out of it.
Yeah.
I want to see what else is on his plate right now other than Bhedia 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so this year there's something called Sunny Sanskari Ki Tulsi Kumari. That's a Dharma movie, I suppose.
Oh, that's with the guy from his previous movies, no? The
Shashank Khaitan, no?
Yeah.
So the Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah. The
Humpty
Humpty
Humpty Ki
Sharma
Dulhania.
ke Dulhania. Yeah. Humpty Badrinath.
Yeah.
I think this one is with Janvi, right?
There's like 12
Oh,
upcoming projects
this
on
one
his.
has Sania Malhotra.
Oh,
It's Janvi and Sania Malhotra. So maybe
that'd be
this will.
good.
that could be really good. He also has Hai Jawani To Ishq Hona Hai, which I don't know.
What a song. What a song.
He's with Mrunal Thakur, who I also really like. Directed by David Dhawan. That's the one.
Brilliant.
Obviously,
Of course, it's David
Gana Uni ka
Dhawan.
hai.
Yeah.
It's their own song, so.
Apparently, there's a no entry too, but that seems like a fan made poster.
Okay.
Diljit Dosanjh, Arjun Kapoor, Anees Bazmi. He's also in Border 2. Is there a Border 2 that's coming? Yeah, Border 2 is happening, right?
Obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's got a few in development things too. So, yeah, hopefully he can figure this out, man. That's all I want. Yeah. Chalo, that's it for this episode. We're going to do another bonus for Patreon, but follow us there. Yamini, where can people find you online?
Hi, so I am at Papucharu on Twitter and Blue Sky, and on Instagram I am at ya.minute. So, yeah.
How was it filling in for Amrita's shoes?
I would have loved to hear Amrita's reactions to Badass Ravi Kumar. That's all I'm saying. Please get her to do it next time.
We'll
It will be a Patreon special if we do that, because you have to give us money for Amrita to watch Badass Ravi Kumar's trailer.
Yeah.
सारे पैसे अमृता को ही जाएंगे.
Yeah, that money straight goes to bank account of Amrita's.
Yeah.
So, Joy, where can people find you online?
You can pretty much find me on Instagram posting pictures now. I am a bit disengaged with social media chatter, but I still get some sort of information overload and I need to dump everything. So that's happening on Twitter and Blue Sky also at 93K. But for all things Khandan, you can find us on all our socials at Khandan Podcast.
Yeah, we're on Patreon. Follow us there. And I'm at Asim Bernie on Blue Sky and Twitter and everything else. Yeah, thank you for listening. I think I don't know what we're doing next. I think we have a few more episodes before we get into our 80 series, and we'll be announcing which those movies are. We have locked in our 15 movies, so we'll be announcing that on social media and making like little promotional reels and stuff like that. Yamini will be helping us with that too. So I'm very excited for that. And otherwise, drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. If you are a Vijay fan, if I completely misread it, if I don't get it, like explain it to me what works or what doesn't work. And yeah, we'll be back with a new episode soon.
Podcast for acting. Girl, you're my